I love the music
I know, right?
of the
It's a
of the
banger.
intro. Yeah, it's so funky. Woo, I was dancing around.
I don't think people our age are allowed to use the word funky.
Really? Is that also one of the like banned words nowadays?
No, it's just basically it's inappropriate for old farts like ourselves to use something that.
Oh no! Then you need to like my daughter. She's 7, and she says "bra" all the time.
Okay, you shouldn't. You should show her the cartoon Johnny Bravo.
Oh yeah, that's fun. Should do that.
Yeah, that's our youth, right?
Yeah, I know. I do recall like being on vacation in Germany with my parents, and they had a satellite over there, which could show Cartoon Network.
Yep.
And I do remember like watching Johnny Bravo, Cow and Chicken, all those shows while being
Cow
there.
and Chicken.
Yeah, dude. Cow.
Oh, dude.
Oh, I like that one. But now they have new stuff. It's do you have the same like when you were younger and you watched that show and you thought, how could I ever not like this show anymore? It's so great. Why do adults not like this? And now when I watch them, I'm like, eh.
Dude, kids like Teletubbies, right?
Yeah.
It's only appropriate for an adult to watch Teletubbies when they are high on weed or something.
Yeah, you say it so. Cool. So let's dive into the topic today. I
Hashtag enable MFA.
Enable MFA, ladies and gentlemen. One of the most important things you can do to protect your accounts. And there's so many stuff in Azure AD which could help you with that. Mm-hmm. And I think the cool thing is that it's actually free, or part of it is free, right?
Most of it is free.
Yeah. So I'm again struggling with a machine that is also very hot. Because I wanted to show the security defaults docs page. Not sure if you can.
I can show it. If you turn on my screen, I can just.
Yep. Okay. There we go.
Turn on my thing I'm sharing. There we go. Microsoft security defaults. There we go.
Because that's how it's called. So the free MFA is not called free MFA. It's security defaults, and it's actually more than just like MFA. There's more behind it, and I think that's also cool because. You, of course, have the Azure AD Premium P1 plan and P2 plan. And actually, in the security defaults, we're giving you a part of that P2, the identity protection piece, for free as well. But what I said, there are a few things like... so one thing I think is good to know is that if you create an Azure AD tenant nowadays, it's on by default.
It's on by default within a week after tenant's creation. Let's be really clear. It's not turned on during the tenant's inception. We turn it on within a week from tenant's creation. That's why when we created for 25 show tenant, initially there was no MFA requirement. So when we came back a week later, Stefan's account was asked to register for MFA.
Exactly. And then that was something like what I wanted to show.
I will prove to our viewers that my security defaults are still enabled.
Yep.
This is our 425 show tenant. I'm literally in the interface. So
we
have this one enabled. Yay, we're seeing that. So I will be doing some fun things with AirServe later. So I can show you what's the experience on the phone. So I will try to hijack Stefan's MFA session when he will be sharing his MFA enrollment.
Okay, let me see. Okay, I'm gonna share it right now. And okay, there goes my screen. Yep, there it is. So this is basically the message that you get. So if you create a new Azure AD tenant, and after a week, those security defaults, when they're on, you can see how slow my machine is, you will get this message. And it also tells you around security defaults. So one thing that's, so let's enroll it, and then we can talk about a few things that are different.
Let me grab my phone. I will hijack you, brother.
Where is my phone? Oh, there's my phone. So one thing that is good to know. So first of all, I need to enter my password again.
Because your session got stale.
Yeah. And you see, I remembered my password.
That's why we reset it last time.
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
pointing my phone at your thing. Let's see.
Oh, let's see. Okay. So this is one thing. Before I'm going to click next to know security defaults, there are multiple MFA methods, and we're going to talk about that later. But
So yeah, there
this
are
one only
multiple.
supports. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
this one only supports Authenticator. If you were to go to that page or try to sign in on your phone, you would see another option in there about I want to bind my Authenticator, because you obviously cannot scan your QR code on the same phone you're signing in. So there will be another link in there. I want to bind my phone to the thing instead of scanning the QR code for the same device experience.
Otherwise, scanning the QR code is yeah. Okay, so Microsoft Authenticator. I'm gonna press next. Okay, let's see who's faster.
I won't do that to you. I want to show the people how the experience is on the phone itself, because this scanning the QR code is fun when you have multiple devices.
Yep.
I want to show people how is the single device. In the meantime, I will create myself a test account.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna do it on the phone. I haven't got the air server, so you will see in a bit how it looks on the phone. So basically, I installed the Authenticator app. I'm gonna tell them to add an account, and I choose for a worker school account, and then I can just say scan QR code. And there's more behind it, but Daniel's gonna show you to you that later. And okay, so there it is. So the other thing I'm gonna do is press next. And what's going to happen right now is that there's going to be a push notification.
Yep.
And it's going to ask me to approve. And basically what it does is to check to see if everything's okay. There you go. The notification got approved. Next and done. And that's it. And now I added a second factor to my account. But because we're using security defaults, I already said like there's a little piece of identity protection behind it as well.
Yes,
because
sir.
It's now not going to ask me for MFA every time I'm going to sign in. It's only going to ask me for MFA when my account would be under a specific risk. So we're going to watch the account and what's happening to it.
Yep.
And then when we notice that the risk is high, then the notification will pop up. And that's part of that security default. And it's also, you cannot configure it. This is how security default works, but this is based also on like our recommended practices, right?
Yeah,
not to
MFA
too
always
much.
forever and ever. And if we deem that user is trustworthy-ish, we will prompt. But the thing is, because your account has never, we don't know that much about your account. If you run new in private mode in a browser, you will be asked to do MFA. Those MFA options will get suppressed very rarely in the very beginning. It's not like full-blown on medium or high risk. Basically, if there is something relatively new about the account, it will just go prompt.
But yeah, that's also like a little bit sort of a risk, right? It's a new location, it's a new thing, so we need to verify that it's really you. But yeah, so that's the security default piece on the user side, or at least a small piece of it.
Yep.
And maybe we should show the people where you enable it or disable it. And
yeah, so let's flip back to mine.
Yep, just give it a sec.
Make me big, brother.
And make you big.
There we go. I like this one a lot, right?
Yeah.
So if we go to Portal, Azure, oh gosh darn it, dyslexia.
Portal.azure.com.
Yep. And I created myself a test user account. Oh, gosh darn it. I need to go in private. And I will use this one.
Okay.
MFA at 425 show Microsoft pfe.ninja.
Yep, that's it.
How did I create that user? 425.
You did use the...
Yeah, I chose a wrong username.
Well, we can change that and fix it.
I love their server.
Yeah, that's great.
Takes up to 5 minutes for this one to propagate. MFA 425 show PFE. .pfe.ninja. I'm making sure I am not making any typos. MFA at 425 show.pfe.ninja.
So everyone who just joined, we're now demonstrating the security defaults, which is something that you get for free, which includes also MFA with the Authenticator app. So the experience we're going through right now is basically first time someone signs in, and then the security defaults should kick in.
Yep, and it should ask me to register for MFA, right?
Yep. So this is your temporary password you need to update. Yep. It's too bad this t-shirt design is a little bit off because you can only read, I think, enable MFA, but it actually
cannot read the hashtag.
No, it's actually saying your password doesn't matter and then enable MFA. But I'm not sure who thought of putting gray letters on a gray shirt because it's over here on top of the enable MFA.
So
there we go.
Now the cool part, right? Because how the hell do I scan the QR code on this one? So that's something that people, they don't test.
Yep.
Well, after you click next, you get this option of pair your account to the app by clicking the link. Open Authenticator.
Cool. So if Authenticator app wouldn't be installed on my device, what would happen?
It would open App Store. Apple
cool.
App Store.
That's also.
So you see, this one has been registered. So now comes the hard part, because mobile devices are essentially single app devices. People don't know they either need to click the top right corner or do the double tap and go back.
And switch.
And after that, I click next.
And I think that this is the important piece when you're educating your users, or when you're educating users, to make sure that they're not gonna like stay on that Authenticator app after it been
you
registered.
have to approve it once.
Exactly.
Next. Done. And at this point, I'm done, right? I can use SSPR because MFA and everything. I don't have to scan the QR codes. It works on every mobile platform. It works on iOS, Android, iPads, across the board. So. And you can see,
you're now signed in as multiple accounts.
Yeah, because we have brokered mode. We have the PRT thing turned on in Microsoft Tenant.
Yeah, of course. Cool.
Yep, and welcome to Office 365.
So basically, if you would like now open an in private browser and try to sign in with this account, it should prompt you for MFA, right?
So let me get out of the in private. MFA at 425 show. Gosh darn it. .ninja. It should ask me for MFA, yes.
Let's see. So this is basically seeing as a new device, new session, new something. Ooh.
No MFA. It's probably because I already MFA'd and it's in my trusted bucket.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's in my trusted bucket.
Yeah, it already knows you.
Yeah. If I did it on my PC in here, even though it's... Let's do it.
Yeah, I was about to say, let's do it. Let's try it out. Still love the background, but we should Photoshop ourselves in it.
And you see, because this is a new device, it doesn't have any cookies or anything.
There you go.
I have to do MFA. So going back here, and I will do it on a lock screen because I'm a lazy millennial.
Oh, there you go. Approve.
Because I have one of those phones that still has Force Touch.
Ah, nice. So you don't need to put it in front of your face.
No. I've new Azure logo.
Yeah, we should get new stickers. The new Azure logo.
I have stickers for 425 show.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah. So security defaults. This is where you turn them on. You scroll to properties, and there's this very inconspicuous link, manage security defaults.
Yeah, it's kind of hidden. This is I always made the joke like this is the hardest part to enable it is to find it.
Yeah, totally get that. Yes, sir. So security defaults, I personally love them.
Yep.
Love them a lot.
What we said, it's on by default when after a week, when you have a new tenant, it gives you that protection. So first of all, it's there are a few things in it because it's not only MFA, right? It is MFA with the Authenticator app for all users. And
Yes,
then it is identity protection that will only show MFA when there's a risk. And then the other things it does is actually blocking legacy authentication, which we can do a whole another session on.
Yep.
And it also enforces MFA for administrators.
Yes, MFA always for admins. Yes, sir.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So not based on a specific risk level. For them, it's always MFA. Yeah.
That's something fun. Even though I'm on security defaults, I can add my phone if I want to.
Huh? Can you use it for MFA?
Yes.
Oh.
The security defaults just disables this during registration, but users can then go and add a backup method.
Okay. Which is good, I think. Like if you lose your phone or basically reset it and don't back up the Authenticator app, which you can do.
But the backup doesn't back up your organizational accounts.
I was about to go there. Yeah, then you still need to go through the process of re-registering it, but it's fun. So this is really the basic MFA stuff, right?
Yes,
I think
very basic. Look how many of those do I have?
Yeah. Oh wow, you have more than I do. I do have such a list as well, but it's also like all the private stuff that is there. Also a lot.
So I do Salesforce. I do for my Ubisoft account for playing video games. Twitter, nice. Login.gov because I'm an immigrant in the US. Right.
And this is the cool thing about let's stop there for a bit with the Authenticator app because it's not only Microsoft.
Nope, absolutely not.
It's basically look there you have Facebook and LastPass. I have those two, Firefox.
LastPass I can remove because I don't use it. Thanks for reminding me. Remove the account. Continue.
So what do you use? What do you use instead? The Authenticator app as well.
Okay. Bitwarden.
Yeah. That's not subscription. So you dropped off when they started to charge you?
I'm a cheap guy. So.
But how did you? Totally different story, but now I'm curious. So how did you migrate all your passwords out?
You just export from LastPass and you import them into Bitwarden. I have my entire export on my personal OneDrive.
Oh, so but I guess it's encrypted, right?
No. Because I'm MFA'd across the board, I don't care if someone gets that list of passwords. So this is my personal vault.
Oh, you put it in the vault.
This is my Game Pass code. I put it somewhere in here. I don't know. Look how messy my OneDrive is.
It looks like I actually cleaned my OneDrive. I had 2 weeks off. So
it took you 2 weeks to clean up your OneDrive. Okay, cool.
It was really terrible. I did, however, deleted a lot of stuff and then made the most famous folder ever, which is called Archive, and then copied everything in there. So that's my cleaning up. It's basically like when you clean your room, you just swipe everything under the bed. That's the Archive folder.
Yeah. I have a desktop, and on a desktop I have a folder called Old Desktop. In the Old Desktop I have an Old Desktop. In the Old Desktop I have an Old Desktop, and I think I have at least 7 layers of that.
Oh, wow.
And I just use Windows Search to search for those things.
Yeah. So
new Game Pass game. Just cause.
Nice. This is like by default MFA, small MFA.
So if you want to see let's see who registered in our tenant, because that's really cool to look at, I think.
Yep.
Or feel free to disagree. So In the usage and insights, you have authentication methods activity. You have the older report, but I like the new one. So let me click the purple banner.
Always the new stuff, right?
Yeah, of course. That are data updates because 2 of us registered, right? You once and me twice. It should be probably 4 out of 6.
Yep.
So it shows what is registered as available methods in my tenant. What is being used within last 7 days. Let's do last month.
And this is a really insightful dashboard if you're deploying MFA.
Yeah.
Because it actually tells you like who registered which type of methods, and you can like keep track and inform your leadership or whatever. Like, look where we at this state. It's
so this is pretty hilarious. It's AD Connect sync account.
It is
doing every half an hour doing sync on legacy.
I was already wondering, did we sign in so many times to the tenant
already?
No, but it's the sync account.
I was curious as well because I saw. I don't know why we are surfacing those. I need to ask about our friends whether or not we should suppress those, the AD Connect account from all the reporting, because it shows in sign-in logs as well.
But you cannot filter. Can you filter it out? There's a filter on top, I see. And if you go to like the filter all the way to the left, I'm actually pointing at the screen, but okay, so you can add country code, but that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just wondering.
And this is the one I like. This is the list of shame, right? Users capable of. So who's capable, who's not?
There you go. So
and
you know they're capable. Yeah, you know they're capable, but if they have not registered, then
no, these are specifically capable, right? Users that are capable, so they registered. Those 4 users are registered, and what for? And you can download it as a report. You can, I don't know if there are any more fun columns. Boom, boom, save.
We want all the data. Capable. And so you can do not capable.
So not capable is basically your list of shame. Who is?
Yeah, exactly. So this is the list you print and put on the board.
Yes,
in the hallway,
you put on a fridge in the office that no one goes into.
Yeah, okay, true. But you just show it during every team meeting as your background, shaming them.
Yeah, this is my initial Life ID account that I used.
Yeah,
it's funny that it uses this one.
And then the other one is the sync account, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's blame AED Connect that it's not using MFA.
Yep.
Interesting. Cool, but so I was wondering, and you probably know, can we still do per user MFA? Can we still set it up?
If you have Office 365, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because it's. We also said like we're going to talk about recommended practices during this session, so it's fun that you can. So the reason I bring it up is that if you're not an Azure AD person, if you're coming from Office 365 and your task is to enable MFA, would that, as we call per user MFA, how would the experience be if you would use that? And
I need to think for a second. How do I get into the? I think this is the fastest. How to get into per user MFA interface? You can always go to aka.ms/MFA portal. I created that aka.ms link for that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Nice.
Because I was too lazy.
This phone factor interface. So this is basically where it started with Azure AD MFA, right? But it's definitely not going to give you the best experience. So we're going to show it only of the purpose of you. Please do not use this, and then we're going to show you how to do it.
Where's my annotate? Share. Okay. There should be where's my annotate button? I want to draw on it.
Okay.
It's paired to a different device. So.
Because basically what this is doing is giving you, your end user, the worst experience ever.
Yeah.
If it comes to MFA. And
some people try to think about this one as security default per user.
Which is
a
not
bit more restrictive.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, as you saw on my phone, it suppresses the MFA prompt because we know that device is trusted. We don't want to bother users and start hating them. And on this one, it will be MFA always, forever and ever. and for every single access, for every single sign-in for that user. And what's the very often point of confusion when people try to do an MFA rollout? They use this column as means of reporting whether or not they are successful with their MFA rollout. So unfortunately or fortunately, MFA has two stages. One is enrolled, second one is enforced. You can give your methods, you can register your apps, and you don't have to be enforced and never have to satisfy the prompt because you're secure enough. Enforced is you have to MFA under specific circumstances. In case of this portal, the circumstances is you exist.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't trust you at all.
And that means that basically for everything I do, I need to MFA. And this is how some developers, so this tool doesn't exist anymore, but this is how end users get so tired of approving that MFA all the time. There's going to be a developer that builds an app on your phone, which will auto approve that MFA message. And what basically takes away the whole like the whole purpose of MFA, because now it auto approves. So even if I'm an attacker, I got your credentials and trying to sign in, then there you go. Then the MFA get auto approved, and this is also the reason why you get like those numbers from time to time, which should match the screen. So if I'm in a meeting and someone is trying to enter my account and I get those push notifications, I got three numbers to pick from. So there's a 33.33333 endless chance of hitting the right one. So this mitigates. This does mitigate that risk a bit of just auto approving that MFA, and this is also a little bit. It's what I said, mitigating, right? It's not
complete prevention.
Exactly, and this is also why this per user MFA, we don't recommend it anymore.
No. So, interesting thing, we found out one of our customers did a pen test. One of our European customers, they did a pen test. The bigger case study will be during Identityverse next month. Our colleagues will be doing session about more prompts equals less security. And we gathered very fun evidence because there is a pen test company. They did pass the tokens, all the vulnerabilities, all the exploits. And one of those was a password spray against Office 365. And they started guessing people passwords. So they basically found out people's passwords, and people started getting pushes. So statistically, 1 in 3 people just approved the push. When they don't approve and you try again, the more pushes you do, the least likely they are to approve. But after a threshold of about 10 to 15, people start uninstalling their authenticator app from their phone.
Really?
The interesting thing is, no one reports it, that they get onslaught of MFA requests. No one reports it.
And that's just the thing you want, because it basically means that this account is under attack. So we need to know it. We need to take action on that.
It blew our mind that people don't report it.
That's. But I think like we're
uninstalling the app. It just makes me laugh so much.
And again, this proves the point for MFA is that MFAing all the time. This is also why I always challenge customers that come to me and say, I want to have the option to enforce MFA every time to do. And I'm like, but why do you want that? Yeah, because it's more secure. Exactly. These things prove that it's not, because in the end user is just going to approve it anyway because he get tired of those prompts all the time. Or actually, what you said, uninstall the Authenticator app. Which is interesting, because then that person cannot access their own account anymore as well. Although they could have a backup method, but
there is a very good session from Alex Weinert about the tools of the trade. How do you do friction? Because the friction. Our friends are doing analysis of NIST, the standard body, about what is authentication. And basically multi-factor authentication has two main purposes: proof of identity. So proof of presence, being in front of a user and agent, basically being in front of your PC, and proof of intent that you really wanted to do something.
Yeah.
So when you log into your bank account, the very common thing is if you're doing a bank transfer that is more than X, you need to re-verify your MFA. That's proof of intent. In the world of Azure AD and authentication, the way we understand it, MFA is proof of presence. So you have proven that you are who you say you are. We don't care about your intent.
Yep.
And there is no reason to reprompt you. There is a limited use case about privileged identity and privileged access, because when you want to check out your credential, and we're working on something really cool in there.
Yep.
But until we do, all of our MFA design is one prompt per user, per device, per password change. If you want more, you are against our awesome engineering team. Good luck fighting 2,000 excellent software engineers.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree on
that. About 2,000, something around there.
So having said this, how would you set it up? How would we set this up? How should we do it?
I would use this wonderful thing called conditional access.
Cool.
Honestly, I would stick to security defaults. And I'm just a lazy bastard, right?
But can you combine the two? Can you say like I want to do some conditional access, and for the rest I want to do security defaults?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Basically, if you don't want to pay for premium and you don't care about that, and you want to be just relatively secure by default, like all the WSAS days, right? You establish your update servers and then you move on with your life and you never touch it ever again.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Yeah, you basically do it in conditional access. Basic conditional access is Azure AD's if this then that.
Yep.
So if you have Alexa in your home, or
don't say that too loud, she will respond.
Alexa, turn off the lights.
No. I'm on my headphones. I'm sorry.
I know.
Yeah. No, and I muted her in the office. So.
I know our corporate policy says we
exactly. So that's why. Awesome. So let's create a policy.
But something very, very fun.
Oh, there you go.
What happens? The funny thing is, if I click it, it opens the documentation.
Okay.
I love it. I personally love it. That it has all the things. How do I find it?
But don't you expect it to go to the place where you disable it?
No, I would want to know what I'm doing. I like that it links to a doc.
That is there's a good point there. But whoever reads how many people would click that link, end up in a place that they don't expect, and then close it and then complain?
Yeah. And turns out that opt-out on free tenants is under 10% right now. So if you are a customer, and most of that is for educational customers. So if you are working for high school, for college, when you have gazillion students and they need to get on Teams, and you cannot force minors into MFA, right? You legally cannot.
Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest opt-out requirements these days from security defaults amongst EDU customers. I used to administer my college way back when, so I can relate.
I know what you mean. I did the same, actually. I was a system admin at a college a long time ago.
Yeah.
But and also I think one of the other things is that security defaults for MFA, it does require you to have a phone, which you want to and are allowed to use for MFA. So if that's a thing that you wanna, then you need to look into like conditional access, or if you don't want to pay, then I can guess that would also be an option to disable the security defaults. Although I would never recommend that. But. Okay, so MFA all?
Yep, forever and ever.
Are you going to like recreate per user MFA in conditional access?
Kinda, sorta, yeah.
Oh. Okay.
I understand the risk. I don't want to exclude anyone.
Ooh. So
right now it's in report only.
Okay, so you put it in report only. Okay.
That's the default, right? We do it by default.
Yeah, let's first of all say that if that warning is there, read it and think really well about it, because this would basically means that this would require MFA for everything. There's no exclusion. So if your account doesn't have an ability to do MFA, or you lost your device or anything, you lock yourself out of your tenant completely.
Yes, sir. You need to exclude your break glass accounts from this one. You probably should. I personally dislike break glass accounts. My break glass account lives on my YubiKey.
Yeah.
It's not a password-based account.
And I think that's also a good recommendation, right? For the break glass account, use a FIDO2 key. Get rid of that password. And those FIDO2 keys are second factor by default.
Yep.
So
2 factors.
2 factors. Yeah. So it doesn't require you anything extra for that break glass account.
Nope.
That's cool. Okay.
So this is basically it, right? At this point, you have some fun capabilities, because you might have seen that if you had my test account's password or Stefan's test account password, you having that password until we registered, you, dear viewer, would be able to register in our stead.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh.
So how do we protect from that, Stefan?
Yeah. Just force everyone to register right away. Buy a gun. Point it to their head and say, "You need to register now." Is that the best option? No.
The best option. So
no. I'm just joking. Limiting from where or what type of device you can register, right?
Protect MFA registration, right? Because there are 2 schools. One is basically do MFA registration policy across the board, because you can force registration without MFA enforcement inside of one of the blades that we will show. But you can, and then when everyone is registered, you have a large degree of confidence that no one can get in, no one unwanted, right? Bad actors. But when you go into the moment of enforcement, if your enforcement doesn't have that many exceptions, your legitimate users will let you know they cannot get into their email. Have a reactive incident response process when someone says, "Hey, I'm seeing this thing that you sent me a push notification, but I never did this thing."
Yeah.
Have an IR response about this one. So, but if you're being very careful and you want to do it responsibly, there is an option that all users or select users inside of conditional access. For instance, we can say that global administrators to register for MFA, because these are sensitive accounts. When they are performing
there you go, user action.
Register security information, which is basically provide MFA. Basically, the thing that I went through.
Yep.
You can either say that they need to be coming from a specific device, right?
Yep.
Specific class of a trusted device, or you can block them on all locations. Okay. On all locations except a trusted one.
And how do
any location and exclude all trusted locations?
Yeah, I see. And
then you will be blocking everywhere except trusted locations.
So what are those trusted locations?
In a minute. Basically, let's just think that there are public IP addresses that you trust. How do you configure the trust and whether you should? It's a completely different story. I personally really like the approach of requiring a device.
Yep.
But then you have a chicken and the egg situation, because you should also require MFA to register device into an MDM and make it compliant. So basically, it forces you to be on a domain joint, hybrid joint device for the first and foremost and only setup, right?
That could be a challenge.
Yep.
Especially with the work from home situation right now. Right?
Absolutely.
It's you can ship it, autopilot it, but then still you need to have that sign in, and then how do I register for MFA?
Yeah. And me again, minimum administrative effort. If it were up to me, I would never have this policy.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm fine with Azure MFA being tofu, trust on first use.
Okay.
Tofu, right?
Yeah.
I'm fine with that because then I just need to know on the back of my head that I need to have an incident response process when I'm doing enforcement, that if legitimate users cannot get in, I need to do their identity verification. And if a user cannot get in, I will not create that policy. I as a helpless person can go and on my MFA test users in authentication methods, I see, okay, my MFA user called me, hey, I cannot get in because I never did the thing.
Yep.
Right? So let me go here and see what's going on. And I see authenticator is registered on a phone. Holy moly, someone did something bad. So I as administrator can go boom.
Okay. Yep.
Require re-register MFA and ask the person to sign in again while they're being on a phone with me.
Yeah.
And at this point, they will recover and the bad actor will get out because the method I deleted from that account is not valid anymore.
No, so they cannot sign in anymore.
Yeah. Then... By the way, this button doesn't do anything. It revokes only per user MFA sessions.
And that's just the thing we just said, don't do it. So
that button is basically a holdover from the old portal.
It will probably be gone at some point then.
Yes.
Or
it will be documented what does it do.
Yeah. Is there no documentation around that?
Yeah.
You
clicking that one doesn't break anything, right? It revokes per user MFA sessions.
Okay.
And all the cookies and everything.
So in the end, it doesn't really matter. No.
Yeah. You would be surprised. So yeah, right now my MFA test user will the thing I have on my phone is essentially stale.
Yeah.
I will never get a notification for that account. So at this point, I just have to user that is with me on the phone can go and register, and from that point on, that phone that they registered is the trusted device. It's just establishing a good IR incident response process.
Yeah, but it does put a little burden on your support team, right?
Yep. Statistically, when you have 10,000 users in your tenant, statistically, you will have 2 or 3 cases like that per 10,000 users.
That sounds pretty okay.
Compared to 2-point-something% of your users being password sprayed every day.
Yeah.
Successfully password sprayed.
No, exactly. And I think this is also the point with MFA, right? It's not what you just seen. It's not like completely blocking it and completely getting the attacker out, but it does do mitigation. It makes
it's all about the cost, right? It creates enough of a friction. So the saying I love from Alex Weiner, that when you're being chased by the pack of wolves, it's not about outrunning the wolves, it's about running the slowest person in the crowd.
Yeah, that's a good one. Nice. I love his analogies. It's fun.
I love it. It's just not so when you're being, unless you're a very high value asset, right? So if you're a government agency, if you are a Ministry of Defense and stuff like that, those kind of tofu approaches might not be great for you because password spraying your account and getting it, the cost is about $12 to get a successful attempt. When you have per user, when you have security defaults or any MFA enabled, this one goes from $12 to almost $100.
Yeah, and that makes it very expensive. So
when you use FIDO and hardware-based tokens exclusively with layered controls, it goes up to $400.
Oh wow!
It grows fourfold, but honestly, it still doesn't protect you from stuff like coercion. Someone pulling into very non-descriptive gray van, driving you to one of the beautiful Dutch fields and getting a crowbar to your kneecap.
Yeah.
I'm Eastern European, I would know.
Yeah. Okay. So while we're on the authentication method page,
Yes, sir.
Maybe good idea to just look into what are those authentication methods that you can use with MFA and which one.
Other methods that you can use. There you go, sir.
There you go. So this is the verification option. So why is call to phone grayed out?
Because our tenant is a trial tenant. Trial tenants do not get phone call options because it's expensive to call people. We are saving ourselves some money.
So that's why it's grayed out. Okay.
Yeah, that's why it's grayed out. So, because we don't want to pay money for the phone calls. One phone call is about like 3 or 4 cents. Something like that.
If you do thousands or millions of them, then
it's 12 cents and text is like 3 cents. It's like almost like 5 or 6 times more expensive than a text.
But you can do such funny things with phone calls. You can create custom intros and stuff.
Can you?
Not with the cloud version.
That's why I'm asking, right?
Yeah.
So some of your friends and some of your colleagues and even the SC300 exam, they have a very fun question about the security. And conspicuously, you have this one.
Yeah, this one is fun because
this one is almost exclusively about MFA server.
And the fun thing is you cannot download or install an MFA server anymore. It's only like for current customers. Yeah, there's a process. You can get it.
The only thing that is about cloud MFA is this.
Yeah. It's so interesting that it's so like in between all the other stuff.
Yeah, we are reworking this one, so it's eventually. But this one, so account lockout, this one is exclusive to MFA server.
Yeah.
For pin mode specifically, we don't have pin mode in Azure MFA. Block unblock users, it's for MFA server. Fraud alert, this one you can turn on. So when people, but this one is only for phone call. So instead of pressing a pound, you press 0 to report fraud.
And people don't do that because that's just a research we got. Nobody will report
that most of those that we see in the system are fat-fingered. Someone tries to press a pound and they press a 0.
Yeah, but they're very close to each other. So who thought of that? Like, why pick?
Maybe people that had rotary phones.
But you can do a different code, right, for fraud reporting. Yeah.
6, right?
Yeah. 6. That's perfect for
because we are on Twitch. Let's make it 69.
Yeah. Way better.
Noise.
Okay, so this applies to cloud. So the notification piece then that's there. That's also on premises MFA.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's basically if someone reports fraud, that's the recipient's email address we will send when the fraud gets. So it's kind of in the middle.
It's hybrid, sort of.
Sorta, right?
Yeah.
This one is when you have those hardware hubs, like that spit out 6 digits on them.
Yeah,
this one will get significantly changed.
I got one over here somewhere. Oh wait, it's actually in my bag. But I got one of those. But that's that number thing. I think everyone knows about those things.
Yeah. Phone call settings, again, only for this one works only for US customers and US based MFA server installations.
I found it quite interesting that there's no word on this page mentioning that this is MFA server.
I know.
How many people configured this thinking that
expecting the lockout to work? Literally, the exam question about MFA lockout when I was doing the beta was that this one implied that this one applies to cloud MFA, and it doesn't.
Really, on the exam itself?
Yep. I put it as this question is wrong. Account lockout applies to users who enter PIN to authenticate.
Yeah, and there's no PIN
mode in cloud MFA.
Exactly. So that should be the trigger there.
Yeah.
But still, yeah. So if we go back to those methods, because I actually thought they were in an interesting order by default. So on that multi-factor authentication page where you showed sorry.
This one.
So because I think, for my opinion, if I look at it, I think they're in the order of worst and best, starting with worst, going to best.
I think it's number 1.
Oh wait, that's
Number 2.
Yeah.
Number 3. Text.
Yeah.
And phone call is the least. Yeah.
And still, I think it's good. Like even though if you're doing text messages, and it's still protecting, it's still adding some security, right? Because
yes.
If I want to,
Any MFA, even text-based one, is better than a no MFA. The notification through the app is the best because it's the least friction, but gives you the same assurances, and it has least vulnerabilities. But if you have an option, no MFA at all, or only text messages, stick with text messages.
Exactly.
And then go on users and provide their phone numbers on users, because you can provide a phone number on a user.
Yep. So and can I sync those from on-premises Active Directory as well, those phone numbers, and pre-populate them?
Not sure. I know you can do it for SSPR.
Yeah, there's actually been a change, I think, recently, or it's gonna be.
I don't know. I'm not up to date.
Okay. So you used to be able to do that with your phone number, so sync it from on-premises to the cloud, but then it only pre-populates.
Only Office phone.
Yeah, and then it uses that just as a suggestion to use. It doesn't use it as the authentication phone. You still can, so an attacker can still change the phone number, even if there's something different there. So is that the number people should dial? I think there's a space after the plus.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, there you go.
By the way, formatted properly. 555 123 12
6. They know which. Can we just like Bing a random phone number?
No, I don't. Do you want me to dox you? Let me put your phone number. Mine is already in one of the streams.
Oh yeah, I think mine is too. On the one with multi-factor auth. So you can put in my phone number if you have it. Like I can send it in the chat.
But then I can do email. user@user.com. This one will be for SSPR, right?
Yeah. And I think this is also a good point, right?
But there are APIs to do that if you want to orchestrate that.
And I think also like there are a few methods that are only for SSPR, and email is one of them. This was actually also a question on the exam. If you could use email as a second factor, or I think the question was formulated a little bit differently. But if you get that question, the answer is no. It's only for SSPR.
The only place in Azure where email can be used as MFA is B2C.
Yeah,
there are B2C policies that allow an email one-time password loop as MFA.
Yeah. I see Anthony has a question. I think actually it is around B2C, looking at the name custom policies. So what are the pros and cons of using separate localized resource for each content definition?
Maybe you're seeing it from Discord. It's not on the Twitch channel.
Oh, it's on Discord. Ah, there you go. Okay. So I'll leave the people on Discord to answer that.
Yes.
As it is B2C. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Anthony is on Discord. That tiny icon is Discord.
There you go. I'm learning every week.
Not Microsoft property.
Wow. Cool. So maybe we should go back to the conditional access one and show like as the end result, what would be the right way, or not the right way, the most recommended way of setting up MFA in your tenant.
Okay. Turn on security defaults.
Okay, that's easy.
Can we mine? So if you have only Azure AD Premium P1 or EMS E3 in your tenant, this is the way to go.
Yeah.
Right? This is the way to go. All users, all apps, always MFA. If you happen to have identity protection in your tenant, I would also go into sign-in risk.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you need to. Yeah.
I would do it like that.
You would also include low?
Yep.
Okay.
The thing is, remember, risk doesn't revoke your token. So if you already did MFA in the past, token will be, you will see the information that MFA was satisfied by a claim in the token. It will not really do anything bad to your existing sessions. I like low, but the real recommendation from official docs is this.
Yeah, that's why I asked. And this is basically also how security defaults works, right?
Yep.
It's checking for medium or only high, I think. Not sure.
It also encroaches a little bit on low and a little bit on user risk.
Okay, so it's not only sign-in risk but also user risk. Why won't you configure user risk for this one then?
You need, because when you configure multiple conditions in one policy, conditions are ended. So if I do user risk and sign-in risk, it means that I would have to fall into both buckets to be enforced for MFA.
So there you actually worsened the security instead of
I made the MFA enforcement field way too narrow.
Yep.
To basically fence off and introduce friction to bad guys.
So you should create a second policy then for the user risk if you want to do risk.
User risk mitigation. And it will not be MFA policy. That's the thing.
It can enforce MFA, right? It's
high. All apps, conditions, user risk.
Yeah. And then
you want the MFA one? Let's do the MFA one.
Yeah.
Because on high one, you need another one. This one is medium, sorry.
Okay.
Oh. So I don't know if you noticed, because we changed the way we do conditional access.
Yeah, I noticed.
After creation, it takes up to 90 seconds for policy to show up.
Oh, that's the reason that message is showing.
Yep.
Cool. Okay.
But if I create a new policy, user risk, because let me put it this way: if you see a user risk of the level high, we are 95% sure that account's password at least has been owned.
Okay.
User risk.
So probably you want to take some extra actions then, I guess.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
All users, all cloud apps.
And again, if you're setting this up, please make sure to read the warnings and understand what's there, because
I've been living and breathing that interface since 2015. So
because locking yourself out is not fun. It would require you to open a support ticket to get yourself back in. So okay.
Basically, the control for compromised accounts is something we call secure password change. You need to provide old password and MFA to provide a new password.
Cool. So that to make sure that it's not an attacker trying to change your password. Yeah. So this is going to be on. You need to do select. On the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you need to. And then understand to ignore the warning. Cool.
So this is medium. I need to rename it.
So I think if we summarize it, basically the best way of getting MFA enabled, which is also free, is just using the security defaults.
Yes, because at the end of the day, if you don't want to play whack-a-mole, you want to say turn it on, leave it on, and just move on with your life. I think the security defaults are excellent at that. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And then the next step would be using conditional access, and that could be if you want to have more like fine-grained control over what's happening. But I think also, for example, the security defaults only support the Authenticator app on the phone. So if you want to support some other methods, also go into conditional access. Right?
Yep.
And then the last one is the per user MFA that we show. Just don't use it.
The thing is, if you have Office 365 and you want to have larger degree of control than security defaults, that's basically the only way you can do it.
Yeah, that's true.
Because imagine you have a script that needs to run, and you know it runs only in your data center or something, and that account is well protected, the password is complex, you rotate it. If you have security defaults enabled, that account cannot be used.
Yeah, because it requires MFA.
You want to do it basically a bit of whack-a-mole thing. So almost everyone MFA always, except for this one account. Again, if you don't have enough budget to buy EMS and you have only Office 365, which is like half of the entire Azure AD population, right?
Yeah.
We have 200 million paid users, 400 million active users on a monthly basis. So half of them do not have access to EMS.
Yep. So they do the security.
So you do per user MFA because you get it with Office 365. It has all the methods. It allows app passwords because app passwords are available only through per user MFA because they are only for legacy authentication.
Yeah. So maybe you could point. What is an app password? Like why would you use it?
So imagine that because when you enforce per user MFA on a user account, what happens is any authentication attempt that uses only user's password is shut down.
Yeah.
But to seek controls equivalency, user can generate an application-specific password. It's like you going onto GitHub and getting a password for your repo, right? It's because your GitHub account is protected, you can generate a repo key. So it's basically a user account key that you basically insert into your POP or SMTP connector app. And it's used exclusively with Exchange Online.
Okay, so basically if you use Exchange Online, you do per user MFA. You probably also want to look into that app password piece then.
You don't have to these days because most POP and SMTP and IMAP apps do modern authentication these days.
Exactly, yeah. So better do the modern authentication then.
Yes. I would just do not allow users to create app passwords.
Yeah, it is basically going around the whole MFA thing that you're doing, right?
Yep. The thing is, it's very unlikely someone would guess it.
Yeah.
It gives you functionality. It's there. It's always been there. It's been there since inception of Office 365. So some people depend on it, and just pulling it as a rug from underneath people, it's kind of a bad move.
Do you think we're ever going to remove that part?
Yes.
Likely, right? If we
very likely.
Rid of
right
all
now, app password usage is in mid 5 digits.
Okay, so we're getting there.
It's under 100,000 users that are using app passwords these days.
So compared to the total user base, it's
0.01% of all traffic.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Okay, so I think this was great. I learned a lot, and I hope like this gives some insights in how to use MFA and what are the options there as well.
So couple of things in the documentation. There is security defaults, and there are prescribed recommended conditional access policies that you can do inside of Azure AD. I personally really dislike that we are asking our customers to exclude trusted locations from MFA policies. I really dislike it because there are, even today, even in the times of COVID, there are people that are never accessing their work resources outside of the office. So the scenario where someone does the tofu thing, guesses your password and registers MFA in your stead, and user never noticing because they are never outside of your trusted network, is likely.
Yep.
That's the entire zero trust networking shtick, right?
Exactly.
Let me put it on another screen so I can look you in the eye. There we go.
Nice. We're very big on this screen.
They trusted the location base. But on the other hand, users hate being prompted. They hate having to do something. So it's a balancing act. It's how much friction do you want to use to your legitimate users. In real scenario, your legitimate users that you trust enough should not see the friction.
It's basically finding the balance between security and end-user productivity, right? That's in general.
I would say that these days, when most of your workforce are millennials and zennials, usability is security. If you make someone like mine work-life living hell, if you make me jump through 3 MFA hoops and one VPN hoop, I will freaking use WhatsApp for work and Facebook will have all your company data.
There you go. So that's
decision
a good point.
fatigue is real. Mr. H3 Tech. Decision fatigue. It's just one prompt, MFA prompt per user, per device, per password change. We are working hard with this in mind. If you don't fiddle with stuff like sign-in frequency, token lifetimes, or anything like that, it should work like that. If it doesn't, let me know. I freaking own the functionality.
There you go. So I'll go mention Daniel on Twitter, send a DM, or just use use any other channels that we have available there.
Yeah.
Cool. So Daniel, we're gonna miss you for the upcoming weeks, right? You're gonna have some time to relax. And
no. I'm going on vacation on June 20th. So next 2 or 3 weeks, you'll still have to deal with yours truly.
Oh, I thought you were going like tomorrow.
No, on the June 20th, not May 20th.
Okay, we should talk about that, because maybe I have already replaced you for the upcoming weeks.
Oh, if I can get some time off from your ugly face, I'll take it.
Thank you so much. I love you too. No, cool. So for next week, I'm actually I got an MVP to join us, but we're still like figuring out the topic, so it's going to be a real surprise. But maybe from just the three of us, we're gonna have a guest then.
And I can provide color commentary to you smart guys.
Exactly. And then on our upcoming sessions, we're going to talk about conditional access more in depth. And we're also going to talk about B2B, so business to business. And I also found a guest
that's
for
a tough topic.
Well. I know.
That's
but it's fun. It's great functionality, I think. So, yeah. Sure. So now the only decision we basically need to make is which channel are we going to rate before we're going to leave, right?
Yeah, I don't know. See yourself. I still don't have... I didn't ask for mod permissions in the channel.
So I'm pressing the button. So what we can do, let me see. So InstaFluff, that sounds fun.
Oh, fluffy.
Yeah, fluffy. And it has a great picture of a mouse dancing. So let's rate that channel. And thanks everyone for joining. It was great having you today, and have a great day.
Yeah. #enable MFA.
Yeah. aka.ms/enable MFA.
So we will try doing capture the flag. We will get our test tenant with the policies we have. We will publish usernames and passwords for those accounts somewhere, and we will dare our viewers to get into those accounts.
Yep. Oh, sounds awesome. That's going to be fun. Yeah. Okay. Thanks everyone. We're going to rate InstaFluff. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thanks, y'all.